You know that feeling, right? That difficult conversation that's looming on the horizon? Maybe it's with your boss, your partner, even a parent. It feels like you're gearing up for a battle. But what if I told you there's a blueprint? A way to walk into every single one of those talks with a sense of calm and, believe it or not, confidence. Well, let's take a look at the plans. So let's start with this one powerful question from communication expert Jefferson Fisher. What if you're thinking about arguments all wrong? Seriously, what if the entire way you've been programmed to approach conflict is, well, broken? What if it's the very thing setting you up to fail before you even open your mouth? This right here, this gets to the absolute heart of it. On the left, that's our default mode, isn't it? Winning the argument, proving we're right. But look at the right side. The new goal, understanding someone. You see, it's a simple flit from seeking victory to seeking connection. And that tiny shift, well, it changes absolutely everything. Okay, so let's dive into our first big idea. The goal isn't winning.
This all starts with getting this one truth deep in your bones. Check out this quote. The person in front of you isn't fighting you. They are fighting to feel understood by you. Think about that. When someone's voice gets louder or they shut down completely, they aren't really attacking you. They are desperately fighting to get you, specifically, to see a need they have or a feeling they're experiencing.
So this completely reframes what an argument even is. Instead of a battle, picture a tangled knot. And your job isn't to take a sword and slash it in half just to prove you're right. No, your job is to gently, patiently find the threads and unravel the misunderstanding. It's this beautiful shift from being opponents to becoming partners in solving the same puzzle. Okay, so that's the philosophy. But how do we actually do it? That brings us to section 2, your communication toolkit. We're going to look at 3 super practical tools you can start using in your very next conversation. This first tool, which Fisher calls the reset button, is a total game changer. So often we end up arguing about ghosts, right? Things that were never actually said. We're fighting their tone, their body language, the intent we think they have. So instead of doing that, just pause the fight and ask one simple, powerful question: what did you hear? I'm telling you, it instantly clears the air and makes sure you're both actually working on the same problem.
Now, this second tool is all about managing your own reaction when you start to feel that heat rising. Before you jump to defend yourself, before you fire back with a counterattack, before you say a single thing, your very first response, your first word, should be your breath.
Just taking a 5 to 7 second pause. It's like magic. It does 3 incredible things. First, it calms down your own nervous system. Second, it puts you back in control. And third, it creates this little pocket of silence where the other person has to sit and hear their own words echo back at them. It's amazing how often people will actually soften what they just said before you even have to respond.
And tool number 3 is the validation flip. This one's subtle, but so powerful. Instead of fighting against what feels like a judgment on the surface, your new job is to look for the value that's hidden underneath it. What is the deep care or the positive intention that's driving their, poorly phrased comment? And you respond to that, not the attack. All right, let's move on to our third section, conversations with loved ones. Let's see how this toolkit actually works in one of the toughest places for conflict, our families. So let's say a parent says something that feels really critical about your job or your partner. Our gut reaction, our old way, is to get defensive, right? To fight that judgment head on. But we all know where that leads. More tension, more escalation. It just doesn't get you anywhere.
Now, let's try applying that validation flip. Instead of fighting the judgment, we respond to the value hidden beneath it. Because let's be honest, most of the time, parental judgment is really just a clumsy, messy attempt to show love and care. So by saying something like, "I can tell my well-being is very important to you," you're acknowledging their good intention, you diffuse the whole conflict, and you open the door to having a real conversation.
Okay, section 4, communicating at work. Let's take these exact same principles and apply them to the professional world. The stakes might feel a little different, but the goal of being respected and feeling confident is exactly the same. Over-explaining can absolutely kill your credibility at work. It usually comes from this deep fear of not being believed, so we just flood people with information, like that waterfall on the left. Fisher's advice: be a well instead. Hold your knowledge with quiet confidence. Just answer what's asked, and let people come to you for more. It signals true authority and self-assurance.
Now, what about getting interrupted in a meeting? Here's a brilliant 3-step playbook. First time it happens, just let it go. They probably weren't really listening anyway. They were just waiting for their turn to talk. Second, without skipping a beat, just calmly restart your point from the exact word where you were cut off. But if it happens again, you state a clear, calm, professional boundary. I will listen to you when I'm finished. See? No anger, no pettiness, just cool, calm control.
And that brings us to our final section, and honestly, this might be the most important skill of them all, the power of repair. Because it's not about avoiding conflict, it's about what you do after the conflict happens.
Get this. A staggering 99% of our arguments, they are not about what we think they're about. They're not about the dishes or the deadline or that thing you said. They're almost always about a deeper, hidden need. The need to feel heard, to feel safe, and to feel understood by that other person.
So what this means is that the goal of repairing a conflict isn't about you admitting you were wrong or that they were right. It is purely about validating their feeling. You don't have to agree with someone's point of view to understand it. Your whole goal is just to show them, hey, I hear you, our connection matters more to me than this disagreement.
And that, right there, is why repair is so incredibly vital. The strongest relationships are not built on avoiding fights. They are forged in the constant, consistent commitment to fix the little cracks that show up every single day. Every time we choose understanding over being right, we're just making the foundation of that relationship a little bit stronger.
So, I want to leave you with this thought. The truth is, we never really know which conversation is going to be our last with someone we care about. So with this blueprint, the question isn't just about how to argue better. It's about how you want to connect today, in the conversations that actually matter. How will you choose to show up?